Hi, my name is Ivy Starnes, and I'm a gaited horse trainer in Fort Worth, Texas. And today we're talking about feel. What is it? Can you have it? It seems like feel is this elusive idea that trainers talk about and, you can find articles about, but then it's difficult to actually find out what it is or how you can have it. Are you born with it? And it ties in with the video I want to do next week, or maybe I'll even talk about it a little bit this week, talk about failure. And I've been listening to a book called, I forgot what it's called, Why We Sell, by Daniel H. Pink, I think is what it is. And I read too many books in a row, and then I forget which one talked about it. And they talked about, I know I talk about feel, I want to talk about another F word, fail. And he talked about the fact that FAIL is just an acronym for First Attempt in Learning. And I absolutely love that. That failure, that getting it wrong is just a first attempt in achieving something, or first attempt in learning. And in a way, I feel like feel, this is complicated, is similar. Feel is the idea of recognizing things in yourself and your horse, and then knowing what those mean, and then knowing what to do. Now, I don't believe that people are born naturally with feel for horse training, that they naturally were born with knowing how, when that horse does that, if I do this, it'll fix it. They're not born with that. Now, there may be people that have better instincts for it, that have better softness or different things that makes it easier, but all of them had to watch the horse, had to recognize what the horse was doing, had to realize that the horse needed a certain kind of response, then do that response, but maybe do it wrong, and then realize that the horse needed a different response. It wasn't like they magically picked up the rein this way and the horse was perfect, every horse, every time. But when they picked up that rein and they picked it up too hard and the horse responded in an ugly way, they went, ooh, that was too hard. Let me try softer. And the next time they tried softer, and when the horse responded softly, they went, aha, that first time, that was too hard. All right, I feel like I'm jumping right in the middle, so let me actually get to my notes. And actually one day there's an idea of 20 slides in 20 seconds for each slide. I'll do that one day and do a very short presentation. So feel, and part of it actually is I'm just like filling up space till people join so they don't join in the middle of the definition. Feel is the awareness of your horse and of yourself. And not in some way where you're like sensing their energy, but it's an awareness of where you are at mentally, physically, where your energy is, where your horse is at mentally, physically, pain, recognizing those things, being a student of yourself and your emotions and what's going on, and your horse and their emotions and their feelings and what's going on. Many of us grew up or feel like we want this bond and that connection with the horse. And actually one of the articles I was reading about feel, which I will share, talked about that we want that emotional connection, and that's part of it. But how do we get that emotional connection? And the more I was thinking about this today, is it comes from reading the horse and responding in a way that makes sense to the horse. So that all sounds very broad, and like, how does anybody apply that? Well, I do have a couple of exercises that will get you started, but really what it is first off, I'm going to say this first off, you do need to know yourself, but if you can't read a horse, then you're sunk. If you can't tell when he's actually tense and getting ready to blow, then how are you going to actually do something about it, even if you knew what to do? If you can't tell when the horse has made progress and is thinking about things and you give him a break, if you can't tell that your horse needs a break, you're just going to push right past that learning phase and just bombard him with things. And that's not the goal. The goal is to feel, which is just going to be a term. It's basically just knowing what the horse is going through and able to apply something to that horse. Whether it's giving the horse a break, whether it's applying more pressure, whether it's applying less pressure, it's the idea that we can see the horse, see what they're doing, recognize it, and change what we're doing. Carl says hi. Pamela says hi from Tennessee. Penny says, great topic. Julie says, hi from Ohio. Jen from Central Florida. Diana says, hi. Jenny says, hi from the Buckeye State, which is also Ohio, if you didn't know that. Although I don't actually know all of the states, but maybe you guys should start introducing yourself by your state's nickname, and I'll see if I can guess it. Amanda says, hi from Ontario, and PJ says, hi. So the idea is that feel is your response to your horse, and also your response to yourself. Have you looked at yourself? Are you a very high energy person? Go, 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 get things done. That's your feel for that day. You may need to bring that energy down if your horse doesn't match you that day. But first you have to see what the horse is like that day. And it's true, your horse could be different from 1 minute to the next, and from one day to the next. They could be different. And are you changing what you do based on that? If you have a horse that's really nervous and you really wanted to work on stopping and standing, and that day is really windy, do you think that that is the best day? Well, as a person with feel, you'd be like, I feel that this day is not the best to work on it. Or maybe we work on it and I reward the slightest try, and I change my method, my ideas, so that they match with where the horse is at. And again, the horse can change from minute to minute and day to day. Bonnie says, and your feel is different from day to day, too. Depends on so many things. I find I have to apologize to my horse sometimes and then just carry on. That's true. It's a really good point that you're going to mess up. I mess up. I mess up today. Every day I mess up when I go with horses. I was harsher than I wanted to be, which is usually when I mess up, I was too harsh, not I was too soft. And I have to realize it, and I have to change and plan better. In this case, I'll just tell you how I messed up today. I had trained these two horses to kind of sidestep toward me, like for the mounting block, but I took them out on the road. And this is the first time I'd done this, and there's a little ditch. And I needed the horse to step to me. Well, he was a little confused because there wasn't a mounting block right there. And so he wasn't getting it, and I was yanking on him a little bit too hard. He eventually did get it, and I rewarded him, and he did phenomenal. But what I realized is I hadn't set him up to do this in a new location, which I even talked about last week, about doing things in these other locations. You have to practice it in all different situations. I didn't have a crop with me to signal him more clearly, and I lost patience because I had a limited amount of time because I had to get back here and do this video. I should have done something different, and the feel is recognizing and changing what you're doing to suit the horse and that situation, which can change constantly. Denise says hi from ME. Is that Massachusetts? Lynn says hi from Washington. Laura says ride the horse you have at the moment. Absolutely. But let's get back to feel. Your emotions and your horses. When you go out there, let's evaluate. Is your horse frisky? Is he calm? Is he just waking up from a nap? Some horses are grumpy if you interrupt their afternoon me time. Are they playful? Are they happy to go out and explore? What is their emotion? What are your emotions? Are you upset? Are you in a rush because you only have a limited amount of time? I find when I have a short time, because I have a deadline, I do terrible horse training. I'm not terrible because clinics are all about deadlines and I do better at a clinic. But if I'm by myself and I have a deadline, I rush. Where normally I'd be like, oh, I'll take as much time as I need. I'm very patient. And I know I can't push it, but if I have a deadline, I need to get back here and do this, it messes me up. So where are your emotions? Okay? Plan for that. Don't be so ambitious if you know you have a set amount of time so that you don't try to push for too much. So your emotions and your horse's emotions. And these are like checklists that you could go through to learn feel. And obviously at the beginning, you have to think about them. And you're going to mess up. And like I did today, I messed up. Your seat. This is a little more tricky because I firmly believe that if you want to have a good feel with horses, you have to have a pretty good seat. The only way to really do that is you can kind of cheat and have somebody who doesn't know horses lunge you and do lunging exercises while you're riding without stirrups. But you kind of need lessons for someone to teach you, like on a lesson horse, how to sit, how to move your hips, how to relax, make sure you're not make sure you're not bracing your legs and your hips. You can do these on your own. And I'm telling you because I did them. I had a horrible seat. Maybe next week I'll do the before videos. All you people that I say I had a horrible seat and you don't believe me, you think I'm being falsely modest, I have some videos to show you. Maybe we'll do that next week. You need to have a good seat. Today I was riding a horse and he's been known to spook and bolt. And I was riding in a saddle. It doesn't really hold you in place very well, which is fine. And I talk about some of the things that you need when people have a horse that might spin and spook. The best thing is to learn to have a very good seat that moves with the horse but is also relaxed. And I talk a little bit about how to do that, but it's super important. Find someone near you. Take 6 lessons. I bet if you find someone who's good at giving seat lessons, like how to help you ride better, 6 lessons are going to blow your world. They will help you have a better seat, and it will be money well spent when you don't fall off the horse the next time they spook. Having a good seat helps you be confident on your horse and not so afraid and tensed up. So that's a good tip, and I do have some free videos on riding exercises and lunging exercises that I will try to remember to share a link to. Next, touch. This one is tough. This one is tough because for me to be able to demonstrate, when I do clinics now, I go around the people that are there, participants and auditors, and I show them how much I'm putting light pressure on the horse. When I'm working on softness, this is the light pressure I start with. Now, if the horse speeds up and goes too fast, I do pull harder. But when I'm riding in those small circles, I show. It is so light. People are shocked. Learning to have a soft touch, soft hands, touch the horse gently. Practice that. That's going to help you have feel. How you slide your hand down the reins and gently pick it up. That's softness. Does your horse respond in a manner that's so soft and light it looks beautiful? Or are you yanking on your horse? Does your horse feel like you're yanking on him? It doesn't matter what you think. In this case, it really matters what the horse thinks, because some horses are so sensitive. You have to be extremely light. And if you're not practicing that, then that's, going to hinder you. Your softness. And I forgot to do a video, but you can take hold your reins in 2 hands, grab them with one, slide your hand down softly and pick the reins up just before you put pressure on the bit. Go ahead and stop. Just hold that and then release, and practice that, and then do the other rein. Soft. Be as so soft. Practice that. That is going to help you have feel right there, where you're feeling when you're putting pressure on the horse's mouth. Don't just grab those reins and pick them up. Think about it. Think about what it would feel like if that bit was in your mouth. How soft you would want the person to be when they could. Now, if you need to pull hard to stay safe, I'm saying pull hard. But if you can be soft and light, that is better. And that is what feel is that ability to be gentle rather than harsh and quick. Next, softness, which we basically just covered there. Softness and touch go hand in hand. It's that ability to start super light. Know when they can feel, and they can feel just a very soft touch. Softness. And then the other part of feel is, what is the horse feeling? And how do you respond to that? Are they nervous? Are they over threshold? Do you need to back off? Is this a bad day to try this because if something went crazy, they're in pain? Next week, I am going to talk about all the different problems that can arise from pain and all of the things you have to rule out when you look at doing behavioral problems. Know yourself. What is your energy, generally speaking? I've worked with people who were go get it, high energy, let's get this done. They followed directions very well, but they were also so strict with their horses, and they needed to learn to breathe. Okay? Learn to read the horse, learn to read yourself, learn to breathe. So it gets us 2 exercises, one which I mentioned, which is practice the rein softness and practice breathing. Now, I've done another video about connecting with your horse on the ground. Breathing under saddle is huge. Every time you stop, take a deep breath. And it needs to be where you can hear your breathing when you exhale. You need to be able to hear it. You need to be able to hear the that exhale needs to be audible. If you're in my clinic and I tell you to breathe, I have to be able to hear it from 20 or 30 feet away. I have to be able to hear it. Breathing is super important to feeling because it lets you bring those emotions down. I know some people will tell you visualize all that tension in your stomach or your chest. Feel it as a tight little ball of energy and darkness and tension, and you don't like it. Feel it, hold that tension, and then exhale it out through your body. Okay? That exhale is important. Feel the tension and then let it go. And that is going to help your writing as well. Feel is elusive, and these concepts are not exactly concrete, but they give you things to work on. They are things like how soft you can touch your horse, how softly you can pick up the reins. But it's also about reading your horse, knowing when too much and when there's too much and you need to stop, when you need to back off, when the horse needs a break, which is all the time. I'm going to tell you right now, most of us don't give our horses enough breaks. So, all the time. Practice those things. Think about what your horse is telling you. What are his ears telling you? What are his eyes telling you? There's a lot of articles. One of the books I'm going to be reviewing is this book here. Language, Signs, and Calming Signals of Horses. It will be this book, a recognition and application. And I got it a few weeks ago. I've heard really good things about it and about the author as well. And there's calming signals, and there's also, it's like, this is interesting. She says, example of calming signals and displacement behavior. And I'm sure she's going to explain what displacement behavior is. And there's calming signals, and there's also learned helplessness. And so when I talk about this, we will probably do some of that. Now, let's see, I just really need to read this book. I haven't even opened it. Like this one right here. She says, eating as a means of calming and bonding, which is what I teach about, like, getting your horse to relax away from the buddies or bond with them is when they're eating. Take the horse out and let him eat. If you can't do it under saddle at first, do it on the ground. So this is probably a really good book. I'm going to review it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good book and a book I'll recommend. I will be doing a full review of it. But those are going to teach you ways to know when your horse is doing it. And so I wanted to open the video with this. I guess I'm going to close with it. If you want to have feel, you must work. And by work, I mean you must study. More than anything else, you need to study yourself and your horse. You need to know when your horse is at the threshold. Other horses, when the other horse is going to spook, watch around you. Be aware of your surroundings and your horses. Don't let it make you tense, but understand what your horse is feeling. Watch their ears, watch their headset, watch the wrinkles around their eyes and their nose. Are they in pain? And being a student of your horse and like things like calming signals, and there's also another term for it, which I can't remember. Appeasement signals is another one, I think. So there you have to learn the difference between when they're actually calming down and when they're saying don't hurt me or learned helplessness, and we'll talk about that in a video. But feel involves work. Those people that have great feel weren't born with it. They looked at horses, they rode horses, they made mistakes, they failed, which I'll come back to the beginning. FAIL is an acronym for first attempt in learning. FAIL is an acronym for first attempt in learning. If failure stops you, if that first attempt scares you away, please stop watching my videos. All my videos are about practicing and learning and applying things. And if you stop because you failed the first time, you've given up on your horse. Go buy a motorcycle. You are going to mess up. You're going to fail. Riding horses is awkward. Horses have a mind of their own. At least the motorcycle isn't going to spook and fight you. Horses will. Sorry. Denise says hi from Maine. Jane says hi from Orange, Virginia. And Shanna says hi from Virginia as well. Feel is something that we could all use more of. Every time I mess up like today, I'm like, if I would have just planned better. If I would have brought the crop with me, it probably would have been easier. He would have known the signal and the cue. If I would have had a mounting block out there and I would have planned a little bit better. If I would have had 15 more minutes to my day, it would have gone better. I would have had the time and I would have been more patient. And that's on me, not the horse. Feel is recognizing what the horse is telling me right now and knowing what the right response should be. Now, again, this is not a super popular topic. We only have like 30 people watching. When I do saddle fitting videos or teaching your horse to, come to the mounting block, yeah, we get 90 people on here at a time. But this is important, and it's going to help you have a better relationship with your horse. So, briefly, in recap, feel is the awareness of yourself, of your horse, and of yourself, and knowing how to respond. Knowing your horse's emotion and your emotion, you learn to have a good seat, whether that's on your own, which is possible, or with help, a few lessons. Touch and softness, knowing what the horse is feeling, know yourself, and exercises are practice breathing all the time when you're riding, all the time. It's work, but breathe. It'll recenter you. It'll reset kind of the emotions, and practice rein softness. Those are kind of the recap. I have a couple links to share. As soon as the video's done, I'll put those in the description. And I hope that does help everybody. This is just even talking to you guys about it. I'm realizing all those times that I have failed, that I'm like, oh, I messed up, that my feel wasn't good. And it just takes practice. Tracy says, cycles fight you when you ride them riding wrong too. Well, she says hi from Rockwell. Yes, they can fight you if you don't ride them well, but they certainly don't have a mind of their own and decide to run home. They just, you have to learn to ride them too, but once you've learned, they do kind of what you want. They don't decide to go left when you want to go right if you know how to ride them. Horses will still do that, even for the most excellent of riders. But it's a good point. Pamela says, very important for sure. Jody says, thank you, great video. Lots to think about, thank you. You are all welcome. Please study your horse before you get on. Recognize what they're doing, what they're not doing, what's normal, what's abnormal. And next week, we're talking about pain. What things could be causing your horse pain that's causing behaviors? And if it's not pain, what do we do next? So really talking about ulcers, back pain, the horse's SI joint, Lyme disease, foot issues, and the list does go on. So that'll be next week. And next week, I'm going to try to do a before and after. I'm going to show you what it looked like when I was riding 10 years ago. Or like 12 years ago, and show you some of the differences from today. And a lot of those corrections were almost entirely self-taught. I had help online, but they were all done without an instructor right there. So I want to show you guys how awful my seat was, and then show you how it has improved, and I still could use improvement, but at least you can see that I started and was a horrible rider. So that'll be next week. So, and Richenda says hi from Gibraltar. Hi, so cool to have so many people from exotic locations. Anyway, if you missed the beginning of the video, I'm about to end it. You can go back and watch and the recap. If you're on the private training group, join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. And we are going to do a live or virtual clinic where I'll be reviewing some videos and answering questions and explaining what the horses are doing. So that's tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time if you're on the private training group. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Let me know if you have any more questions. You got this.